Welcome one, welcome all. This is something I've never played on the channel before. This is City Skylines. It is a city building game. So, I'm not going to bother explaining anything about how it works and all that. You're just going to be expected to follow along. I'm going to build a city. Here's the map I've got. You can see that we've got some rivers, we've got some coast. We're going to end up, I think, with a major sort of city down here at the river mouth. For the moment, we have just got this little motorway exit to start with. What I'm going to try and do is have a forestry industrial section down here, a sort of village in the middle here, and then some more industry up against the motorway to begin with, the highway. I've got quite a few mods installed. I'm not going to talk you through all of them. So let's get started. First thing I want to do is basically do some work on the motorway here. I don't want to go too hardcore with expenditure. I'm going to build this little connecting road between the two, and then I'm going to continue this one-way system off the highway for just one cell. So I'm going to extend that to there as well, and then we'll turn that so the traffic goes in the other direction. So we've got traffic flowing in and then back out with this little connecting road here. I have demand for residential, so I need to build my little village, which is going to come off this highway into the village, and then I also need an on-ramp. So this needs to be extended somewhat in this direction. I'll probably go for another 20. I've got to watch that I don't spend all my money on this blimmin' highway to begin with. Then I need the off and ons. So what I'm going to do for the off and ons is I'm going to build basically a right angle. Now I got this technique off another YouTube channel. Basically build a little right angle and then build these 45-degree angle roads. So we've got an on and off. I can delete the... So traffic can come off there and go on there, and there's a one-way. Then I'm going to build a little overbridge that's going to go over these two. But this needs to be kind of sensible. So I think I'll try and make a bend. Is that going to be possible? I need to extend that out a bit. I don't know. I might go another 5 with this. Or should we just go another 3? Minimal amount of expenditure. We'll go another 3 on the same heading. Then we need to do basically a... Yeah, I need to come... I need to come... Huh. Okay, I need to build the bridge first. Now the bridge itself is going to go from here. So let's come 3 back in and 3 out that way. And then I can basically do this. There, this to there. Is it 5 long? I don't know. Delete those bits. Now the bridge you'll see is 12. Ah, crap. It's too close. I can't get it up and over. Bollocks. Right, start again. Put the bridge... Oh, I could just do this. 12? That's what I'll do actually. I'll start the bridge like that. Yeah, I'll build the overpass section first. And then... Okay, there's the overpass section, and then I need to take it down to ground level there. And basically ground level. As soon as it goes blue, then I've got the right distance. Then we connect these roads up. So that needs to come out by 3. That needs to come out by 3, and then I'm not sure if I can just use a single curve here. I can. So what did I do? I went out by 3, and then into that. Out by 3, and then into that. Those roads need to be one way. think that kind of works. Although I don't like those curves. They're a bit too abrupt there. So what I'll do then is I'll get this guy and he will push out. Okay, this is what I'm going to try and do. 3 on the same heading, and then I've got to try and get the symmetrical. It's going to be very difficult to get the symmetrical now, because I think I've put this too close to those, and I can't get them to now turn the way I want them to turn, which is over here. Actually I can if I do this. That's the way to do it. On the 135 angle. Just gotta get that bang on 135 degrees. No, okay, the only way to get this right then is to do this. Close that one. Go out to there. Oh god, I forgot how far I went. Ugh. Right, from here we go out by 6, okay? From here we go out by 6. Good. Then to there, then to there, and then to there. Okay, we've got it. Oh, it's not quite right. It's a little bit off. Now, so we can finally... That's all going the right way. These will be two-way streets. That is a one-way street going that way. So we've got... Basically, we can come off here, and we can come off there, and we'll have two-way street system. So the traffic comes down here, into the city that way, or the towns that way, or it can go back over the overbridge and back out. It can access this side of this main kind of highway system, or it can access this side. So I've got 60 grand left to play with here. I need to build a small town. I'm going to go with quite small roads, the smallest basically that we have available, and we'll go for the middle of here, and I'll come out 20 squares, and I'm going to build a village there. The other thing I need to do now is build a industrial area up here. This is going to be a little bit more tricky because I don't want the traffic, the industrial traffic, to have to flow all the way down here to cross the highway to get out again. So what I might do with the industrial traffic is I might build them a little overpass, but I won't do that just yet. I do want the industrial traffic coming off early. So that means basically I could actually bring some of the industrial traffic off at that point there. That's quite nice. Yeah. Is that going to work? Probably want a single lane for this. Get one of these single lane roads. Okay, so I've got an escape. That's too dangerous though. Traffic coming down here is then going to turn across traffic coming down there. That's not going to work. I will have to take it a bit further along, I think, to about here, and then we can't use... Have I got access to any slip roads? No, it appears I do not. Okay, so I've got to make do with these simple road structures to begin with. So what I want to do here is not going to work. Let's say go 5 by 5 and then do that. Yes, that will work. Cool. Okay, so I've got a single little slip road coming off for the heavy traffic that comes in here, and then I need another slip road coming off here for the other heavy traffic that's come down this one. So we'll do that here. We'll go a little 5 by 5 and then... No. start here. That won't work either. Okay, industrial traffic's going to have to come down at least as far as here then. One way. Okay, I'm going to turn on the road anarchy mod, because that might just allow me to get tighter. It might just allow me to get tighter angles here. Yeah, it will. It should do at least. Okay, good. So then I've got my slip road there. Turn that mod back off again. And this slip road here is going to be the one that heads off to the industrial area. The industrial area is going to be... I'm only making this road here so that I've got the right angle that I want. Good. And we change the direction of that lot. We delete this road here. In fact, I'm going to turn this into a two-way road. Nope, this one. Okay, good. With a little section coming off to there, and a little section coming off there. So here's my industrial area. Basically going to be a grid pattern. And it's going to essentially knock right up against the motorway. So I'm going to fill this in with industrial. Then this road here needs to also move its way in. We'll take the... do an angle like this, get a nice... Actually, what I'll do is I'll go for a 45 off there to about there. And then we'll run this road into this one here, which will come out by, let's say, that much, boom, and join this guy in. Okay, so traffic can now get in via two entrances to the industrial area. Let's check the cache. 54, that's alright. Now we need to provide the traffic with a way to get out. For the moment, actually, the exit is just going to be going over the motorway, so I need to make that a dual, and let's join that up to there. So traffic will come in here. The residential traffic will come in here, so that splits off the industrial traffic, and then the residential traffic will come down here to my village. So village, let's go with a smaller road for the village, I think. And I don't know if I want a village with a square street pattern or a curvy street pattern. I'm just going to send off, maybe a roundabout would work here. Okay, I need bigger population before I can start adding in these custom roundabouts. So what I might do then is build a cheeky roundabout of my own, which is we'll do a 5x5 like this, and then we'll do another 5x5 like this, and another 5x5 like this, and another 5x5 like that. So we've got this kind of system here. Off that we can build our little mini roads, which will give us our kind of town, little village area. So let's go for that big. So the village will have a sort of square in the center, and then we'll have a couple of streets coming off for residential. Kind of building it in a symmetrical fashion. Cool, there's a nice looking pattern. 49k left in the bank. We need electricity and we need water. Electricity supply, can I... Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. I can build wind turbines. Oh, they won't fit there. What if I turn prop anarchy on? Oh, I'd love to be able to put them inside the motorway, down the center line of the motorway, but it looks like I can build over here. There's good wind resources. The dark stuff is good wind resources. So it looks like I can probably put a couple in here. We'll start with one. We'll go up as hard against the motorway as we can and kind of equidistant between the residential. No, I'll put it next to the industrial area. That reduces the amount of power lines needed. Okay, then we'll cross over with a power line over the motorway. And then the power line will come into the village, which we just built. Go another 5, like this. So there's our power supply. Now I need water. So water for the industrial, just laying some pipelines. We'll go one pipeline there. It's a little bit too much overlap. One pipeline there. One there. And one there. Then we'll join these guys all up with a cross. Actually, we'll go with the cross line down the road here. And then we'll run the pipeline down the highway. And the pipeline now needs to head off to the water supply, which is going to be down here. I also need electricity down here. That's a bit annoying. 34k. Right, I'm going to go with the cheap water pumping station. That's going to be well upstream. And then I'm going to go with the cheap discharge point, which is going to be a little bit downstream, but not too far, so that I have so much infrastructure to build between the two. So we'll go there. I will link those two with water main, and then we'll run the water main up there. So the water mains should all be connected. All we need now is electricity between those two. So the electricity can just run along the edge there, and then from here to there. Let's get some... Okay, I've got 24,000 left in the bank. That's fine. Let's get some zoning in place. We want residential zoning here and there and there to begin with. I'll also zone some residential out there and there. So hopefully this will fill in and that will supply each other with power. The industrial zoning will start. I'm going to add some mini roads in here just to break up the density of the industrial stuff. I don't like really high density industrial buildings, especially when I'm sort of starting out with a town. We'll go with a couple of big ones up against the motorway, but for the most part we'll go with relatively condensed industrial. I think we can unpause this now. Let the games begin. So there we go. Quite a complex sort of mishmash. It's probably a little bit ugly at this point, but hopefully as we start filling this in with buildings and we get a feel for how the traffic's operating, then it will make a bit more sense. The village begins. Here we come, all the people. And I can keep filling in with residential zoning until the residential bar goes down to 0. That's going to be commercial in there. So what I'll do is I'll link up these two, I think. Actually, should we link it about there with another double lane road, and we'll run the residential down there so that we get the power accessing all the way down here. Okay, we're now starting to see some need for commercial buildings, which is good. So we'll go commercial over here on this square. And then I'll probably put some parks and things, some little tiny parks in there later on. We can add more. We can add more roads here. I wonder if I can get a little slightly curvy road. Let's get rid of that one. Let's try and curve a little road around internally here, just to give it a little bit of difference, a little bit of interest. So we've got some really small plots of land in there. More residential required. Fill that lot in down along here. So these will be really small little houses, as you can see. This is what. And I'm going to theme this area later. Oh, already starting to see some slightly bigger European style buildings. I'm going to turn this all into a European style. Okay, still demand for residential primarily. I'm losing 700 a month, so this is not a profitable town yet. We'll just have to keep filling in the residential stuff until I get more industrial demand, and then I'll start getting some rates in. Get the rate payers. You can see the traffic starting to pour in now. I don't want this area getting too big, because this single inroad here and these very small residential roads are not going to tolerate high volumes of traffic. So I've got to be careful about the temptation to just overblow this residential. You can see the little village coming along. Probably need a little bit of residential out on this side as people drive in. Don't really want to use this main road here though. Oh yeah, someone's bound to build houses along here, aren't they? Still got good demand for residential. Okay, let's just fill in some of these blocks then. Fill in that block. Industrial demand's just starting to climb. There we go. There's our little industrial area over here. Turn off the zoning so we can see it. Trucks have started arriving. So this is what we want. We want the trucks to all exit the motorway, the highway system, well before they get to the residential area. I don't want any trucks going in here, basically. Which is, looks like is what's happening. Let's see how this guy gets out. So you can see this truck here, he's trying to leave. Now he has to work his way all the way down here. He has to go over the overbridge and around. So I do need to improve the distance from this back to the motorway system. I need to get a quick access from here, basically to a point somewhere here. I want to increase the speed limits along this. This is all 40 and this should really be 100. So let's go, let's give these guys, it's a dual, essentially a dual carriageway. So we'll give those guys 40s and then we'll make everyone else around here 50s. Seems a bit ridiculous that people are driving at 40 around here. That could all be 50s, yeah. Off ramps 80, that's fine with me. And I think we'll go 50 all the way around until we get into town. I actually think those off ramps can also be 50. There's no need for, yeah, industrial area, traffic can travel at 53 here. There's no, that can be 50. There's no risk of, children running around on these streets. Good, we're all 50s. We're all 50s in here. all this through here is all 50, and then back when we get over into the residential we drop down to 30, which is fine. This nice little tight residential area, driving at 30. It's entirely acceptable. I could make this central square 50. In fact, I will. Or will I? Let's not micromanage this too much. Demand is for commercial. I'm only losing 192 a month now, so we're going to be close to the point where we start breaking even very shortly. Now, I'll probably put one commercial plot up here in the industrial area, because the goods tend to transfer from industrial to commercial. And then I may actually stick a little commercial block in here at some point too. Minus 180. Still a bit of demand for commercial. That'll fill in. That's filling in. Industrial starting to fill in a bit more. Come on, let's break even. There's 173 people living in this village. Now, based on how many houses I can see, I would expect a bigger population. I would expect this size to support a population of about 300. Now, there is actually an Excel spreadsheet which governs these values. I may slightly adjust that just so it looks a bit more realistic. Is it a town, a small village town of this size, you would expect to be about 500 people big. Well, I would. Not 175, so it's a little bit thinly populated. And that house there, for example, let's just take a look at this individual house. That looks like it's probably got 2 families. Oh yeah, that would have 2 families at least. 1 family up there and 2 families downstairs, so probably 12 people could live there. And it claims that it claims that it has 1 of 1 households. So I would say that building could normally take 3 households. And there's just 1 young adult living there. So that whole building is being occupied by 1 young adult at this point, which is a bit unrealistic. That would certainly be at least 2 families. Okay, this has got a single household of 2 teens and 2 adults. But that's definitely 2 apartments there. So that should be 2 households, not 1 household. There's definitely 2 apartments. So there's a bit of a disconnect here between the way things look visually and the way it's calculating the population. I think that needs quite some adjusting. Maybe we'll have a look at the spreadsheet that I've got in one of the mods that's supposed to adjust population. We'll see if we can just perhaps double some of the densities. I think that'll make sense. Very good, very good. We are now making 26 per month, and we have more residential demand. So what I'm going to do is just fill out a fraction more of this town. We'll bulk that out. We'll bulk that out. We'll bulk this out. We'll run a strip along here. We'll fill that section out. And we'll dump a little bit more on this side of that road. That should basically finish that village. I did say I was going to put industrial down here. That's going to wait for quite some time until I can do town planning, because town planning will allow me to specify the type of industry I want, which is going to be forestry. I've got a lot of zonable land around here. I should probably take advantage of some of this, particularly where we've got 2 road systems connected. This looks like it would be an ideal commercial area, very accessible. I do want to fill this in, but that'll be leisure. Okay, let's get another residential plot there. And I think we'll probably build another residential plot over here too. That can certainly be filled out now. Still have a bit of demand for residential, and industrial demand is now climbing. But I have unused industrial zones still. Yes, I'm now making enough money per month to ward off any financial fears. I do have a lot of roads. That one there is redundant, but I'll keep it because we can zone. Eventually this whole area, or this whole motorway, you can see that guy ripping along at 100. He was really going for it. This will be proper highway eventually, and this will end up going probably out here, and that will be the highway that curves. It'll curve off here and then it'll curve down here. That'll be my main connection to where I want to build the city. You can see I've already got some nice straight sections here, which would make for rather tidy ports, I think. This is a custom map. I forget the name of it. If I remember the name of the custom map, I'll stick it in the video description. You can download it if you like it. I did not build the map. I downloaded it from the Steam Workshop. Demand for commercial now is on the rise. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this here into a bit of a commercial hub. Going to stick in two nice big blue blocks for commercial development, and hopefully that'll give us a nice little secondary kind of. This is more like just the little, you know, the little downtown for this village. Just 3 or 4 shops. This here is probably going to be more of a employment-y focused area. Let's stick in another row there. So quite a bit of traffic's probably going to generate here. I wonder if I can build a car park. Still need a population of 5,500 for all that stuff. There's a car park there. That needs a population of 1,600. Boo. You can see the pollution from this industrial area starting to become obvious now, that hazy colour. It's the problem with this industrial stuff, it tends to blight the landscape somewhat. Now these guys are parking on here. I don't really want people parking on the roundabout, so can I adjust the parking situation? Parking restrictions. Good. No. There is to be no parking on the roundabouts, people. Nor there. If you want to park, use the bloody parking provided. Okay, good. We can turn that back off. So that'll stop people from dumping their cars here. It may get a little congested here with traffic, but I think that provided I don't make this town any bigger, then we'll be okay. We can't do anything about zoning it. Night is starting to fall. You can see the sun is dipping on the horizon over there. And we've got the wonderful night environment. Ah, the town is named Sitzhafen, by the way. Sitzhafen. Sitting on the port. Sitport. Sitting port. So, there's the large sort of zoomed out aerial view. I've got lots of residential demand arriving. So I'm very tempted now to shove in another town. And I think I can bring this road down here. And we can start building another town to the south. So we'll go 3 10s, 30 units down. Will I build another roundabout? I think I'll go by a 3x3 because the the 5x5, oh, oops, wrong type of road. The 5x5s tend to be a bit over the top. As you can see from the size of that one there, it's just a little bit too big. Okay, so then we've got a... Right, we're up against the forest here. So I think, and I don't want to go this way because the highway's going to branch off in that direction eventually. So we're going to take the road, we're going to take the town village road off here. And yeah, let's do that. Let's do a curved one. Should we go to there? No, that's a bit ugly. Let's go out first by 10 and then we'll curve it off to the right 10 by 10 and we'll build a sort of village in here. Yeah, these two villages can join up with this little kind of back road here, and then I think we'll go off like that. We'll try and get this angle right. That's quite nice. So the village itself is centered around this square here. And then we'll just run off at weird angles. A few... I think 135 is about... But that seems to want to hold that angle there. Seems to be quite snappable. Yeah, we'll go there. We'll go there. So this isn't really even. These off-roads are coming off at weird angles. What I can do is I can use the... Should we do that, shall we? That's too sharp. I'll go with this road, I'll go like this. And then I'll link in... Oopsie. And then I'll try another curve into there like that. So I've got a bit of a curvy street around the back there. I'll run a curvy street into the center of this section, which will just kind of end there. So there's my kind of central commercial area for this little village. We'll get another little straight road off here, which will then go right. And I think we're just about done here with the layout. So these two villages aren't that close together. Well, they're quite close together. That one can probably... do that. So these villages are connected with two roads. This one needs to come out a little bit. Nice. It's a bit hard to see now, it's getting dark, but this will all become a lot clearer once daylight returns. We'll link the power system up, and I want to essentially build the town from here outwards because this is where my power starts. So we'll basically zone in some residential there. We'll zone in some residential here. We'll make that a 3x3. We'll give a little 2x2 there, and hopefully the residential will spread the power in, and we'll go with commercial. Actually, this can be my commercial block here. Yeah, there's my commercial block. So the commercial block's going to be quite uneven in terms of how the zoning looks. It's not going to look very regular, but that's what I quite like for these, for a little town, something that's not very regular. Bit more zoning here. Try and bring this residential stuff round. So traffic for this area is going to come off and goes down this road here. Traffic for that one's hopefully going to go in there. I'm hoping traffic for this doesn't decide to go in here and back out, which means I've got to make sure I don't connect that up to there. If I connect that up to there, then traffic's likely to come to this roundabout and then go down. I want to force it to go down this way, which is also why I should increase the speed limit on this road. Okay, that's interesting. Oh yeah, this road here can stay at 50 all the way down to the roundabout. The roundabout can stay at 50. And then we get into the 30k zone there. And this is all 30 basically. These two almost contiguous villages. Residential demand is going through the roof. We're making 400 per time unit, whatever the time units are. That's going to be my commercial. So let's go around it with the residential stuff. I'll get slightly less dense with the residential as you get near the edge of town, or the edge of the village. You start putting a few more blocks between the spaces between the buildings. Maybe do a couple of these 3x3s. They tend to produce, actually let's go with a 4x4 on that one. Hopefully it doesn't produce a giant tower, residential tower. And we'll shove a couple over here. Yeah, that's what I wanted. This kind of house here. I didn't want some giant. So these are these really extra sort of edge of urban area buildings. And we're going to get denser and denser housing as we get to the center of the village, which is basically here. And then it will go very suburban when we get out the back of the village out there. Couple of townhouses there. We'll run a row along there. We'll run a row along there and a row along there. And then just one or two houses on the outskirts here as it gets less dense. House there. Go with the house there. Something on the corner either side. Yeah, that'll do. So then we can run residential along here, Probably go with there, there, there and there. Fill all this in. Doodly doodly do. Fill the bulk of these in. Yeah, they've already got natural separation based on the curvature of the road, so I don't need to worry too much about going for minimal density of zoning. I can go for just block it all out. We've got parking problems. Where's my no parking? This guy here. No parking on the roundabouts, people. In fact, I'm going to lock you out down the main roads here as well. Don't want people parking on these access roads. Certainly don't want people parking along here. Good. That is defo right out. That would just be ridiculous, allowing parking there. Good. Okay, so we've basically done all the parking restrictions. Now we wait for a little bit more growth. What's the time? 1 AM. I'm going to speed the time up so we can get to morning. I can actually turn off the day-night. The options over here, you can just turn off this day-night cycle. We'll do that for a while. So, middle of the day, even though it's nighttime, it's kind of showing us the middle of the day. Oh no, it's now 11:59. It's just skipped through, I think. So, this is what it looks like during the day. As you can see, it's starting to take shape quite nicely. It looks like we've got two distinct villages, although there's probably a little bit too much overlap in here for me. So what I might do is do some dezoning. Sorry guys, you've just lost your homes. I'm just going to make the boundary just a little bit more explicit. Just lost a whole lot of villages. But we'll move you guys to new accommodation elsewhere. Okay, so we can thicken that up. We'll do the same here. We'll do the same along here. We'll give a bit of residential there, a bit more there. Why not? Let's just fully zone that road in. And then we'll probably go 2 blocks of commercial. So this can be all residential as well. 2 little sections of commercial right in the heart. That becomes residential. It looks like we could run a small road in there behind these guys. It's a bit more obvious now that we've got 2 villages. No need for any more commercial at this point. Here's this little dedicated commercial zone here, which hasn't... Oh, it has filled out, yes. No, that's still not filled out. The industrial stuff over here is coming along nicely. $1,000 or euros per time unit. And we're nearly at 500 people, so our population's about to hit 500. At which point we can get some unlocks. And I believe things like schools will become available. So we will shove a school in pretty quickly. We'll need fire station, police station, etc, etc. And I think I'm going to stick my fire and police stations either side of this commercial block. Fire station here, quick access to the industrial area, plus basically main road access in 3 directions, and then police station here, which will largely look after the residential areas. They're going to cost a bit though. 493 people. We are basically zoned out here. Oh no, more houses still being built. That'll get me over the 500 mark. I think that's when I get my unlocks. Great. Let's turn off the zoning overlay. It just looks a little bit more obvious now when we can see what's going on. So I'm not sure if I'll keep these as 2 separate districts once district becomes available. Districting. I think I'm going to give these each little village names. So there'll be 2 separate districts. And the boundary basically runs through here. Okay, 525 population. Why did I not get... Oh, I need 1,000. What? 550 is the marker for healthcare. 1,000 for those. 550 for schools. Okay, so it's 550. That's the number of people I need. I'm at 531 now. We just... Oh, there's a nice looking residential building going up. Is that going to be a little bit of terracing? No, it's low rise. Ah, I was thinking that might be sort of a 2 to 3 story terrace. That would have been quite cool. You can see most people have little back gardens. Commercial need. Excellent. Let's zone commercial. There we go. Right in the smack bang of the village in the middle. This all commercial stuff should have been built out now. Yes, good. No more space out there for commercial, so it's going to fill these. The demand will center itself down here. We may be in need of new power soon. I've only got one wind turbine over here, and I suspect we're going to be getting very close to the edge of our... Yeah, we're consuming 5 and we're currently generating 7, but that could drop down when the wind dies. So I'm going to have to build another power station. I do have the cash, but I can wait. Commercial's not getting built out. Come on. The demand is there. Just waiting now for the population to climb up over 550. Good. Someone's finally decided to speed up time a bit. Someone's finally decided to build some shops. Yay! Okay, I can build schools, medical clinic, the landfill, community school and a recycling centre. Get some cash and I can take loans out. So we're up to 50k. First priority is going to be probably the waste processing. I don't want a landfill. I would like to go with a small recycling centre, which is this one here. And this is basically an industrial type of land use, so it can go up here. I think it can go there. It's going to cost me 8 grand, which is a hefty sum, but it will be worth it. Trucks will all flow out. I may end up building a road that comes around the back and comes into the industrial area from here. So in that case, what I'll probably do is stick the recycling centre there at the back of the industrial area. What I'll do is I'll build out a couple of roads for that purpose. And then we can stick the recycling centre out here. Does it have water? Does it have electricity? Okay, so it'll have to go there. In order for it to have the right resources. And then eventually I can then build a road out of there around the back, and that'll basically be a bypass. And it will connect into here. So garbage trucks can go out this way, and then it can also go out that way. So you won't have garbage trucks basically driving from the back of the town all the way through just to get out. Now we need a medical clinic, which we can stick in here in amongst the commercial area. And this will also mean that we can get rid of them power lines. I think I'll run it... Right, I think I'll run a road like this. And we just lost power. Of course we did. But that'll return when the medical centre goes in. Excellent. There's my medical centre. So that's ideally placed now to service basically everybody. A little clinic. Last thing we're going to need is a school. I do not want to build one of these big elementary schools. I'm going to go with one of these little ones. Now this needs to service exclusively residential populations. I don't want to blur the line between these two villages, but I do want the school to have access to both villages. So maybe I'll stick it out on the outskirts here, although there's going to be a bypass there later, isn't there? Let's see if we can connect that in. Connect that in, and then use a curve here to connect that into there, and we'll stick the school there, there. Oh, I don't really like the merging of these two villages. Maybe it should actually go in the middle of one. Or there. That still keeps them separate from each other. And it's not going to be anywhere near the bypass. Which is also what I think I'll do then, is I'll delete that house there. Sorry guys, you just lost your home. And then we'll go up and across like that, so that we've got a road around the side of the school. Then we can fill this in with residential here. And that just gives this area a bit more of an urban quality. We'll urbanize the center of that. Grand. Lots of residential demand still. So it may be time for us to consider a super block, which would signal the first kind of main area. We've got lots of land over here ready for the taking. We've also got land which I can probably purchase down here now. Can I buy another property? No, I can't buy any more land yet. So super blocks are basically these giant road networks designed to minimize congestion. And it's based on a grid, and it's been used in Barcelona, and there are loads and loads and loads of videos online explaining how super blocks work, and also how they work in City Skylines 2, because they do actually work. In City Skylines 2 you can build super blocks, and they do actually manage traffic. So we may build a super block over here. I'm also kind of basing my layout on central place theory. For those of you who are geographers like I am, you will know about central place theory, and I'm going to need a kind of anchor. And that, I think, is going to be up here. These villages are probably too close together, really. It's going to be difficult. If I repeat this pattern over and over again, it's going to be a mess. There's too much, not enough distance between these two. So, I know I'm going to have a major urban area here. So I could build a super block here. It's going to look weird though, because it's just going to stand out on its own. Or I could build a super block here, because we already have the grid square. Yep, that's what we're going to do. But it's not going to be connected directly to the motorway network, which is going to be a problem. In reality, a super block should have been built here. But it's too late for that now, because we've got villages. So I'm going to need to get traffic off this motorway and into the super block, which I can do via a connection here. And it's going to have to go up and over, because we can come back onto the motorway via here. Ah, right, this is ideal. This is all tickety-boo. There's no need to worry about me. Let's get this highway system, future highway system, progressing along another 20. Another 20. We'll just check that we've got the right speed limits in place. Should be 100. Okay, good. Thank you for being present today, and we need to change the direction of travel on those. So I'm going to come off again with another exit. It's going to be a double lane exit that's going to come off here, and then it's going to go up and over, and it's going to go into here where I'm building my super block. So we'll go 5 out from there and 5 out from there, and then we'll connect that in like, whoop, no, that didn't work. Wow. So 5 out. Is that 5? Maybe I need to go 10 out. It looks like I need to go 10 out. And then 10 out, and then from there to there we've got our right angle. This guy here is now going to curve around to the east via this little trick, which is called build a corner. Okay, we're going to go 5. Crap, I need to have a straight road here. Oh, that works. Okay, so we'll go on the 10, but we'll actually move it from here. That's where we're going to branch off. Then we're going to go up and over. Crap. $12. $12 down to 3, down to 0, to there. This goes that way, so this road needs to be a single lane in that direction. Then we drop it down from 12 to 3, to 0, which is there. Grand. So this is our entrance into the super block, which is going to start there. Super block is going to be made of these kind of roads, and oh, garbage, we're too close, we need to come out another 5. Good, then we go. We're going to go in groups of 10, so 1, 2, we'll go 3 to the north, and then we'll go 2 to the south. 1, 2. So that should give us 5 grids, whoopsie, of 10. Connect them all up. Now this eventually is going to be a 5 by 5 grid, so it's going to be, oh, are we going to be able to get 5 across though? Yes we are. Just 40 along and 50 down. So there's the shape of the super block. So it's going to be it's a 5 by 5 grid, as you can see. Just got to keep an eye on the cache here. We're running out of cache, so we're going to stop with that for the moment until we've built some supplies back up. I do have lots of residential demand, so maybe I should start filling out some of the residential here. I'm going to run the some. Oh, that's really killing the bank. That's really killing the bank. I don't want to go so far with these. That'll do there. Run some electricity in as well, which will connect from here. And then we'll get the residential stuff in. We'll get the first couple of squares done, just so I can start making some money off this lot. Now I'm also going to connect that into there. That will allow traffic to escape. Building has begun. I need to get that connected to the power. Have you guys got power? No, you don't. Okay, what I'll do in order to give them power is I'll just run a couple of... No, what I'll do is I'll just move the power... Oh, no, that didn't work. Crap. Okay, I'm going to have to delete these. No, that's going to have to be deleted. So, delete that. Bring the power into there. Can you go to there? Can you go like that? Okay, so that should connect us all up. Yes, good. So these guys are now filling this out, which is exactly what we wanted. Check the power situation. We are in need of a new generation unit. We have got not enough cash. I need another 2 grand. I'm in desperate need of generation here. Yeah, there we go. These guys are suffering. They've lost power. I might have to take a loan. I'd like a loan, please, from Silver Sunset in order to build A wind turbine. Don't let me hear you call it a windmill. It is a wind turbine. It does not mill anything. Mills are where grain and paper come from. Well, flour and paper. Right. That's now filling out the super block. So, we're not going to push ahead too quickly with building this out because you can see my financial situation's not really going to support large amounts of infrastructure without rates. So, I'm only going to build the infrastructure, the roading and whatnot, as the rates come in. These guys are going to need their own school and whatnot out here too. Probably their own health clinic. And so I'm going to have to make sure I leave room for a health clinic and at least one school in this block. No traffic moving in here yet. There's an interesting situation. I've got this roundabout here which can actually run over the highway as well. Or I can just keep everything separate either side. Let's drop down and have a look. You can see it's very ugly at this level here. It's just, it looks barren and disgusting. But once we get access to trees and we can start beautifying the place up a bit, then we can make this look really nice. It's also very flat, this part of the map. You'll see it's pretty much flat all the way to the coast. And once you get out of this initial area, you start getting into the lumpy terrain. There's some big bumps and hills and some other lumpy stuff. This is really lumpy over here. So later on, as things expand, we'll push out. The super block is on its way. We still can't build districts. We have 18 grand, but we're only earning 200 euros per thing. That's probably because of the interest payments and the expense associated with the second wind turbine. So I'm going to need to satisfy demand for all of the different types of land uses before we do too much more infrastructure building. Okay, this little village is looking really good. This little village is matured out now. We've still got space here for some leisure activities, which will come later. But yeah, looks like everybody around here is having a nice little life in quiet suburbia. There's one of the waste trucks you can see going about its business. Whole lot of traffic ploughing its way in here at the moment. Where did they come out? They went under there. Oh, they come out here and then they go that way. So this is just an interchange between two motorways, as well as being the exit entry point into my town. It's a very nicely designed intersection. It came with the map, but you can see there's a bit of traffic problem here. Oh, hello. I've got some people using my off-ramp system. Very good. That's what it's there for, people. Traffic is just starting to build up around here as the last section gets built out, so we can now add another block of residential. A little bit of commercial demand, but that's going to fill in here. Yeah, this little downtown looks cool. Very tiny little downtown, basically a supermarket, takeaway, joint, and a general store burger bar. That's what they've got in town. These people over here have got two pretty much identical looking convenience stores, florist maybe, a Subway. And a burger bar and donuts and whatnot. So this is basically Diabetesville, and over here it's a bit more sort of boring Personville. Oh, they've got a service station now. That's nice. And here, the super block. These guys are going to be the modern urbanites, because eventually we're going to rezone this as high density residential, but we don't have to worry about that until we've got a much, much larger population. So I'm going to call it quits here. That was the very first episode of an entirely new game for the channel, City Skylines 2. It's been out for a year and a half, 2 years or something, so it's not new. But there we go. It's a bit more relaxing to play this than some of the other games, and it's certainly forgiving. If you make a mistake, you can just delete it and do something else. So if you like something a bit more relaxing, something you can probably play on a laptop as well, then City Skylines is certainly a good option. Let's pause it, we'll save it, and if it gets a little bit of interest on the channel, then we'll obviously continue building out Sitzhafen.